So your daughter's interested in becoming a forensic psychologist. That is very cool. My name's Dr. Anderson. I have a doctorate in clinical forensic psychology, and I can teach your daughter how to make $1 million a year being a forensic psychologist. Forensic psychologists can charge $500 an hour. I can do 4 assessments a week at $5,000 a piece, and that's about $1 million a year. So there's a lot of misinformation out there on the internet from people who know nothing about psychology and aren't licensed and aren't forensic psychologists, and they just try to Google information and then make videos on it. So I recommend definitely going straight to the source and talking to a forensic psychologist. Now, forensic means in the court system or in the legal system, and that doesn't necessarily mean the criminal justice system or criminal court. I do a lot of civil law evaluations, and I also am court appointed in child custody matters, CPS court, many other courts that aren't just criminal court. So keep that in mind. There's a lot of different legal questions. That could be a whole master class that I do. Maybe I'll write an ebook on all the different types of assessments that I am called to do. I'm licensed not just in California, but in Nevada and all 38 PSYPAC states. So laws change across state lines, and the legal questions can look a little different. So lots of different jurisdictions, and each case is different. Anyway, so it takes a while to get to a point where you feel confident to be taking on that many cases. Anyways, so I have a couple words of advice. I'm going to give you first the 2 biggest mistakes that people make when trying to pursue a career path in forensic psychology. This is what I see, so buckle up and listen. I don't want people wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars or wasting years of their life. It actually makes me sad. It makes my soul hurt. And I don't want people to do the wrong things and then come crying to me later. That is why I'm on this platform, because here's one of the number 1 mistakes that people do. They say, yay, I want to get accepted to a doctoral degree program, and they get in. It's not that hard to get accepted to college or a doctoral program. They're for profit, they make money, and they're happy to take your money. So can you get accepted? Sure. Can you graduate? That's another story. So do not get a doctorate degree online. They don't count. They're not qualified. They're not clinical programs. They don't qualify for licensure. So that's a no. Second thing is make sure that you're looking at the Board of Psychology requirements. The second biggest mistake that people make is that they become licensed as a master's level clinician under BBS, which is the Board of Behavioral Science, and that is not a psychologist. That is for marriage and family therapists, licensed professional clinical counselors, school psychologists, other professions that are at the master's level. So a forensic psychologist has to be licensed as a psychologist under the Board of Psychology. So my tip for you is go to the Board of Psychology in the state or country where you live, look at the requirements and follow that. Print it out, highlight it, memorize it. That's the roadmap. And if the Board of Psychology requirements will tell you what you need to do, they might say, hey, you need an APA accredited university in your state. Then you'll have to do that if you want to get licensed in that state. So if you want to become a forensic psychologist, you're going to get your doctorate in clinical psychology, and then you can specialize in forensics. Now, at the time when I got my doctorate, there just happened to be a program that was clinical forensic psychology, which is super awesome. Now, it's hard to find programs like that now. I did go to Alliant International University in California, and they do have a clinical track program that is accredited by APA. And then when you do the program, you can specialize in forensics. So your doctoral program should set you up for success. When you enter the program for the next 4 or 5 years, you're going to be working every single year at a site. You get to choose the site. I chose sites that were specifically forensics, and I got my training through the university. Here's another myth. You typically don't need a master's degree to apply for a doctorate degree program. Why? Because the first 2 years of a doctoral program, you get your master's degree. Now, I'm in California and I'm in the United States, so keep in mind if you're in England or some other country, it's a little bit different. But I'm in California. I got a master's degree thinking that's what I needed to get in the series of progressive steps to getting a doctorate. And then when I applied to get the doctorate, I just realized I wasted a year of school, that it wasn't necessary, because the first 2 years of my doctorate program, I got my master's degree, and then I became licensed under the Board of Psychology as a registered psychological assistant, and my license number was under another licensed psychologist, so I could continue to work during the remaining part of the doctoral program. So keep that in mind. Becoming a psychologist is under the Board of Psychology, and that's one of just a common misconception that people have. They go to get a master's degree or get licensed as a master's clinician, and they realize that they're under the wrong board and that they're not a forensic psychologist. Now, there's plenty of other cool stuff to do as other licensed professionals, but specifically, if you want to become a doctorate in psychology, it's all about getting licensed under the Board of Psychology. So what colleges do I recommend? I would choose a college that works for you. I chose the closest college I could commute to, and I commuted 2.5 hours every day, and that was quite a commitment. I was a single mom with 2 kids, and I had commuted, and that's not ideal, but if you're really committed to pursuing this, you'll make it happen. So I would spend a good amount of time researching universities and deciding what best meets your needs and that's going to have the most opportunities for you. The reality is you get to create a lot of opportunities. You can customize where you get your training from, what practicum sites you get trained at. Now, I went to Alliant, and so each year I got a list of sites that I could choose from and interview at and potentially go to. And so I had lots of options, and so you really can customize your education. And for example, I had colleagues who just wanted to work with children or adolescents or whatever their specialty was. You will choose a site to get that training. So I am going to be partnering with Alliant University to host a free webinar coming up. It's in my stand store, and it's coming up November 8th. So people can attend during their lunch break, and it's just free because I want people to just have knowledge, make the decision themselves. But I think a lot of people also want to know, what is it like a day in the life of a forensic psychologist? What do I do? And that's why I post videos on here. I can share what I do from day to day, and there's lots of really cool stuff I do. Like I was on this podcast, Crime and Cookie Juice, before they even caught the person known to be Bryan Kohberger. And I talked about why it would be a man and what this man would be like, because there's things, people just give themselves away by some of the clues they leave behind. So coming up, I was on Fox Nation with Mark Furman, Dr. Craig Wetter, and Jason Jensen, private investigator. We are on a show about Bryan Kohberger, but it's not going to launch till the trial. So we talk about some of the psychopathology of him or people like him, or what it's like as a forensic psychologist to interview people in that process, because this is what we do.